Hey, what's up, welcome to Young Motions, and this is part 4 of this tutorial to create this virus particle effects in After Effects. In part 1, we create this illustration of these two viruses 100% in After Effects. In part 2, we set up a basic particle effects. In part 3, we loop our particle effects and we add on a few effects on top of it. In part 4, we use expressions to connect multiple viruses comp sources into the same particle effect. Okay, so you must be wondering, we created 3 viruses, why you only use 1? Okay, let's get into that. Select virus 1 to 3. Let's bring it into this comp here. Single composition, no sequence layer. Okay, so we have 30 seconds here. What I'm going to do, let's rename this virus to virus 00. So this is the virus of all viruses. It will contain all your viruses. Control Alternate Shift Y. Let's call this controller. Okay, so the idea is that this controller controls which of these viruses is going to be selected, and it will be randomly selected. Create a slider, right click on the controller effect, expression controls, slider control. Let's just rename this as layer selector. Okay, go to virus 1, click T to bring out opacity, alternate, click on the stopwatch, and then this is what we're going to write. If you bring out the controller, let's log this. So if open bracket, pick whip to layer selector slider here. So if the slider is and then equals, which means equals to index. So index means this layer number, which is 2. So actually we're going to move this controller down. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So that is the index. This index, and then we're going to use the curly brackets, and then we're going to do 100 semicolon else curly bracket 0 semicolon, and then we have the curly bracket again. Okay, so let's break this down. You can copy and paste, but I'm just going to explain this. So if this slider is equals to in the index of the layer, which is either 1, 2, or 3 respectively, opacity, put it to 100. Else, if not, opacity at 0. So right now my layer selector is on 0. So nothing happened, put to 0. So I learned this from expressions. The expressions course from School of Motion. I think it's great. I learned a lot. Let's copy this opacity to these other 2 layers. Control C, Control V. So just make sure you select the opacity, just the opacity, and then you just Control C, Control V. If not, you can right click, copy expressions only, and then go open up T, and then paste and paste. So the next one is to go into our controller here, alternate click on layer selector. Okay, and then this is what we're going to write for our layer selector. So we're going to randomize the layers. Okay, so this is what we're going to type for our controller layer selector. Random 1, 3. Before that, we have to add in Math.round. And then put all these things in bracket, enter. Okay, so what this means is that give me a random number between 1 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, and round off that number, because they can give me any number which is like 1.1, 1.8, 2.9, things like that. And then I don't want that, because I need to give myself a round number so that my opacity can detect it as either 1, 2, or 3 and give me either 100 or 0 opacity. So this happens every frame. So this is what's happening. Okay, we settled our virus. Okay, let's go back to our particle comp. We will click on virus 1, select virus 0, which is the one that we just made. Bring it down here, click alternate and release. Delete this 2 here. Texture time, we need to change it to birth. So what this means is that whatever the particle looks like when it first started out, remain that throughout the lifetime of the particle. Okay, so back in our FX here, we have a whole lot of different particles in 3 different variations. Our crown prints, our not so crowny prints, and then our just dots here, and you can see that it loops. I think this is a very useful way to do a lot of things, such as learning how to loop the particle effect, how to create a particle loop, how to create this multiple particle sources within just one particle effect. Thanks for watching, and stay virus free. Only make them in After Effects.